we spend on marketing and how expensive those appointments can be to just generate one of them. And I would listen to the call, be like, there's got to be a way to do this with the way that things are trending. It would be a great tool for any of the people using it if they could upload their call recording. So they're not sending you a link being like, what'd you think of my call, Steve? Asking you that feedback. It's like, you could analyze thousands of these in, 5 minutes. You're done. Big, consistent and structured, and they get the feedback instantly. So probably even more valuable tool for the volume of calls of all the sales teams that you're training. Right. So that's what prompted the conversation.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors, where millionaires are made. Today we have my great friend, Casey Ryan with We Buy Any House. Casey flew in from Vegas to talk about how he made $6 million in profit last year with only 12 employees. I take a lot of notes on this episode. Guys, I'm on a mission to create millionaires. The information on the show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you'll take consistent action, you'll become one. And before we jump in, if you want to learn how real entrepreneurs are building real empires, hit that subscribe button. Because every week we're dropping lessons that can help you create your first or your next million. And right now, you've got 100,000, quarter mil, or maybe more sitting there in your CRM. Resurrect all your old and dead leads with the objection-proof AI calling agent. Text CASH to the phone number 33777 now to unlock the money that's just hanging out in your CRM. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I've been looking forward to this episode because there are a couple of things, and we're going to talk about it, where you had inspired me, right, to take some action. And so it's actually kind of funny. We had, my team was, they heard Casey Ryan's on the show, and like, Casey Ryan, like, where have we heard this name? Like, where is this from? And then I was like, we've literally mentioned his name on every single webinar, right? We've been doing about a webinar.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
We've been doing about a webinar a month, right? And we mentioned, Casey Ryan was an inspiration for our AI tool, right? But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because like you had kind of gone down this AI journey even before I did.
It's a rabbit hole for sure. Yeah, and you can go down the wrong path a lot of the times too.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when did you start going down AI? Like, what got you down that road, and like, what was that journey like?
Well, I mean, as you know, my background's engineering, so I like to tinker. So just piddling around with stuff and getting like going deep in the weeds with certain things, like you just see a lot of efficiency. So as things started to come out, and I got like a little bit more familiar with like their back end side of stuff, and like just realizing the potential, and sometimes it can be a total distraction. But but this one made a lot of sense because we spend so much time, if you have a sales team, or even just for yourself, if you're making calls, like you get like stuck in the eye of the storm, and like you spend so much time like re-listening to all the calls that are done, and trying to like dissect them, and like, a lot of it becomes very objective, and that's never the case. You always want things like a structured feedback loop that allows you to see where you're missing, see, where you can improve and whatnot, and then like assign values to certain things. So when we would score, I'd have like a little rubric, like an Excel table, right? And then like try to like stick to that and be consistent with listening to calls, scoring them, and outside of that too, listening to calls like to kind of audit leads, like that's a missed opportunity by a salesperson. Or if you're listening to your own calls, that's a missed opportunity by myself because you forgot to cover this whole section of whatever the case was, or you missed this little nuance that they said. So I just started going down the rabbit hole. First, it started with just simply, this was before any of the call softwares had even transcripts, right? And then once they did even have transcripts, they would just be outlandish, or it doesn't really know the information that you're looking for. If you have a 20-minute call, and it's a call software, like they don't know what industry you're in, whether it's, real estate or finance or whatever it might be. So I just, even when they did start coming out with the transcriptions, I was glad that I had built my own rubric before for transcribing them, but it started there. So phase one was I need to get all the calls transcribed so that, it's just easy to reference back to it without having to sit there for 20 minutes. You can just skim through and do it. So that was phase one. Phase two was kind of, okay, now I'm transcribing the audio. I need it to go, as soon as the call is done, come back to the CRM, because we know how salespeople are, like they never put any notes in the CRM. So you come back to these leads, they're marked cold, and it just says there's nothing in there at all. So I wanted the transcriptions in there so that I could reference that. So then,
I wonder how many people listening resonate.
yeah, right. I call one of my sales guys Captain Details, because they just don't ever put anything in there at all. Or they're on the road and they're just busy and they forget to go back and do it. Right. Whatever the case is, it's the time old story of it just happens over and over again, and you cannot get them to do it. It's not their strong suit. So I was doing the transcriptions for myself, so when I could go back and look at leads, I could easily see what was going on with them or how that conversation went. But then I always am trying to like make little automations to improve the lives of everybody on my team, so that if it's something that they're repetitively doing, or that they're repetitively not doing, but that's consistent, that could just be automated, it was notes. So I was like, okay, so once I figured out how to get the transcriptions out of them, then I started going down the rabbit hole of making these insanely long prompts that could analyze the calls and like pool the sections of the calls into like different scoring sections of the prompt. So when it would just spit out like, okay, 1, are they interested or not? 2, was an appointment set. 3, what was their asking price? Were decision makers covered? Like all those little nuances and details that you'd look at in a sales call. And then once I had that like figured out, I was like, well, it'd be real nice if, other than it just going in the notes, it could actually update all these leads, all the specific fields. So then I started going down that rabbit hole. And then it turned into, okay, well, now we're summarizing them and sectioning them off and updating like if they took the call, if they were interested or not, or if an appointment was booked, like the appointment would just go in there so they don't take a call on the road, because we would have some like no-shows, and I'd go back, I would see the text come in like, where are you? It's 2:00. And I'm like, what happened with this? Like, how do you just blatantly miss, which we know how much we spend on marketing and how expensive those appointments can be to just generate one of them. And I would listen to the call, be like, he was on the road, he went to another appointment, and it's gone. Which I can associate, or I can relate to that, because like I can be hyper focused, but like once something leaves, like it'll come in my mind and it's just gone. Or like you're in the middle of doing something, it's gone. It's never coming back, right? So I get that happens. So then I started updating all the fields, and then I thought, well, consistently when I'm scoring these, and it actually, like, they'll consistently miss the same thing, and then over time as they improve that, it's like they miss something else later. So I always loop back to this Hormozy quote where he says we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, right? So I started to take that same transcription structure, whatever, summarization, and then turned it into a scoring rubric. So I talked to a bunch of people, looked at like, what are the obvious most key points that I'm summarizing in this call, and then how do you score them? How do you weight them? So then this is a journey of like the last, I don't know, it's probably been 2 years now. And it's crazy. Like a lot of the stuff that I had to do before, like you can little by little, like reduce those prompts, because things have gotten drastically better. Like every 3 to 6 months, it was like a revelation how much better the LLMs got. But so I was doing that for a while. And then I was thinking about it, because you're doing sales training, and then I'm listening to like the call auditing and whatnot. And again, if you have a sales team, you're managing that sales team, and the main way that you're managing them is obviously making sure they're taking the outbound action daily that they need to take. But the second, one of the most time consuming things is listening to those calls. And if you think about it, you got 3-4 people, or whatever the case is, like they spent all day trying to get on the phone with people. So there's like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, whatever, times 4. It's like, you can't listen to everybody's calls. I'm like, there's got to be a way to do this with the way that things are trending. So then I just think it makes, self-management of the team so much better. 1, for those notes to come back in. 2, to create that structure, that scoring rubric that immediately, so then I set it up to where immediately when those calls are done, boom, it just sends them out a call review. Like, hey, you did all of these things, but you missed to ask about decision makers. So then it just made it easier for the sales guys too. You have inside sales and outside sales. It made it easier for the outside sales, for those of you who don't know, that's the people sitting in the living rooms meeting with sellers belly to belly. But that was missed before, and it's like right away, it's like, hey, you missed this, so call them back, right? And they get feedback, instant feedback, and then you could take all of those breakouts of like, what was the points assigned to a clear intro, setting expectations, next steps, and so forth. And then they could see trends over time of what their overall scores were on the call, and then like which sections are dipping or going up or whatever, or where they can improve, and then just compiling all that in the dashboard. So it's doing that for a long time. I saw what you were doing, and then we were just having a conversation, having a few beers, and I was really excited. I'm like thinking about, I'm like, this has been awesome for me. Like I come back to the CRM, it's like, wow, all the statuses are updated. The asking price is in there. It's like they didn't have to do any of it. It was just done. And I was just thinking about you on your sales training. Those calls were all you do call audits, right? And you piece them apart. And I was thinking like, why not? If it would be a great tool for any of the people using it if they could upload their call recording and say, so they're not sending you a link being like, what'd you think of my call, Steve? Or whoever's leading the class, I don't know, but asking you that feedback, it's like you could analyze thousands of these in 5 minutes. You're done, and it's consistent and structured, and they get the feedback instantly. So that's just what prompted me to do it. I'm like, that would be a probably even more valuable tool for the volume of calls of all the sales teams that you're training. Right. So that's what prompted the conversation. But
how long did it take for you?
Oh man. What's funny is like, it's all a blur, to be honest. Like it'll just be like late nights of like, you once you get in that like deep work state, like you're like vibing, you're in the zone, and it's like kind of exciting, and then things break, and I just really like to solve problems over and over and over again. So it's like every step of the way. But how long was it? Probably, there was iterations month after month after month, but like the initial the hardest part was like just figuring out the prompt, figuring out the flow of like, if this happens, then how do you get the recording to here? Then how do you download the file? Then how do you find something that transcribes it? Then how do you break out the sections? So it's just like, I don't know, maybe it was like a 6-month project from beginning to end before it was like, okay, it's operational. Right. And then after that, it was just like countless hours of iteration.
You were a mechanical engineer?
Mechanical, yeah. So no real like code experience or anything.
Yeah. But then engineering background.
Yes, engineering background.
And then the other thing was there's some automation you did. I don't know how much you feel comfortable, but like
anything. I'm good.
We're both in CG, Collective Genius, right? I've been in it since 2020. I don't know when you.
About the same. Maybe it was shortly after. It was right around COVID.
Yeah, but we get to hang out, drink, blah blah blah. Most of you drink. I'm well behaved. I drink a lot of water. But like there's other stuff that you share, like the scripting, the automation, where like someone lands on a website, they don't check out or whatever it is, they don't fill out all the information, and you have a whole automation.
Yeah, another rabbit hole. Yeah. 6 months of my life going through that.
You want to share like what that rabbit hole is?
Yeah. So whenever you have a web form, and this is actually applicable for any business, and I really think it probably has a better application for like e-commerce type businesses, or just like selling a product. But like if you go to Adidas and you put a shoe in your cart, and then before you know it, they're like texting you and be like, hey, you forgot something, usually that's if you're logged in, right? Because those are massive companies. So in our industry, you have to be real careful, because if it's like they go to our site and then 2 minutes later I text them and say like, hey, I'm at your front, you know what I mean? It's like super creepy, because that's like an intimate thing. It's where you live, right? So you have to be very careful with those kinds of things. But we found a good flow that's like not invasive, right? It also helps with like our existing leads. So we'll see like if they clicked a link from one of our email campaigns, it's like boom. So when they're active right then and there, and then tell your salespeople like tag them in it right then, so they'll get like a text that says like, hey, so-and-so's looking, and it's like a lead from 3 months ago. And and over time you start to just like accumulate more and more leads, so you'll have like whatever 5, 10, 20,000 active leads in your CRM. Some of them are 3.5 years ago. They're still in drip campaigns, So It's basically it doesn't use cookies, or that's part of it, yeah, but it uses like your device ID, or like,
Right.
and it knows that like, hey, this device ID at one point in time from whatever huge database. I don't know the details of how. I've tried 17 different platforms and found like probably 2 that are pretty consistently accurate, and even then they're like in the 20 to 30% range, but it's still helpful. But it's nice when you see like people identified that searched, sell my hoarder house, whatever the case is, and you know who it is, and they never submitted a web form at all. Like, so what actually prompted me, I started doing that because I was like, this has got to be a gold mine, and it turns out it's tougher than that, because like the accuracy, it's like, all right, you're already at like 20 to 30% best case. And then you've got to find those people's contact information. So it just keeps narrowing.
Well, I went down this road myself a while ago, and I couldn't crack it. As far as I got, and I got stuck, so I didn't want to spend much more time on it. But it was like the reverse IP search.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so like this person's IP address was on my website. Let's skip trace this guy, right? Because you can, to some degree, do it. But when I did it, I was like, well, this is within 5 miles. Like, this is just completely useless information.
Useless, yeah.
Right?
Because it's like, who's the cell phone towers where they're hitting.
Right. So I was like, like this is, someone will figure this out and do really well, but this is not.
Let me know when it's done. Yeah.
Exactly. So you
I
were
actually
able
combine the IP thing with those to like
To
help
device.
narrow it down to get to that 20, 30. Because if you just go raw off of those softwares, like you're at like definitely probably sub 5%, like sub 10% for sure. And then the IP thing, enriching it, like helped bring it up too. But
yeah. So you're able to get people using whatever software out there who are showing up your site, don't register.
Yeah.
And you can find out who they are.
Yes, that sounds illegal when you say it like that, but yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal, because there's other people that have tried it, and the difference was like they had a much higher accuracy rate, and so they couldn't sell it. Right? It's like you can't buy data of people that have like exactly a 600 credit score, right? Like you can't.
Right.
That's like, that is just like too on the nose. But you could buy data of these people that probably have a 600 credit score.
They're probably the 613 that you're looking for, but yeah.
Yeah, so you can buy data. It's like, hey, like, give me all the characteristics of a person with a 600 credit score.
Right.
Right? And you can get that pretty precise.
Yep.
And just give me those people. Don't give me 600.
Yeah.
Because that's illegal. Everyone that looks like a 600. And I say 600. 540.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has a 540 credit score. Someone has like got a recent negative ding on their credit. It's a 540 credit score. But don't give me people that have exactly a 540. Just all the characteristics.
Otherwise, you're not in compliance. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you're kind of like, you're not breaking the rules. You just found a way to get to a point where they visited, you can find them.
Yeah. And, so I started doing it, and there's a lot of time spent in like auditing the records, because it's like, it's real hard to like cross-reference all this stuff. So like you almost just have to spend time like, okay, this one I'm going to work on now, and like see where the IP came back, whatever. And then as you're doing it, you're like, okay, I noticed that trend. It's like always this and always that. Like, okay, that's a new rule that I'm going to put into my little pot over here. And then I just do it again. I'm like, oh, that's always the same here too. That's the second rule that I put there. And I just sit there and handwrite the notes down to do it. But what ignited me was, so you have the ones that never submit anything, right? And then just leave your site. Then you have the ones that go to your site, start typing in their information, or it auto-populates from their browser, but they never click submit. Like, so that's Gravity Forms has a thing, it's called partial entries, right? So then capturing those, and like every stage that you go down this rabbit hole, like they obviously become a little bit more qualified. So like your lowest quality one, because of just data accuracy, right? Trying to identify people that just hopped on and left. Then you've got people that started to fill it out and then left. Then you have people that filled out their address, hit submit, but didn't put any contact information. So like that's like all the stages of the funnel. And what sparked me is like shortly after I started doing it, I had one, it showed up on both. So I had one, I did this crafty thing like probably 5 years ago, where I'd like scrape certain obituary sites and whatnot, and then try to cross-reference to see property owned by those people. And then I would send these incredible handwritten letters that look like I wrote them on my kitchen table, like one of the pen machines where like I had to sit there and do, 10 different A's, capital A's in my hand, like for every letter in the alphabet, and then they have now they have this font, right? So that, and then it just bounces between all of them to make the letter look so real. It's insane. And then it pushes the pressure up and down. So like there's areas where the pen is like lifted up and down. It just looks so real. Anyways, so I did the obituary. I mailed letters out, and a guy ends up on our site, and it actually captured and identified him before he even submitted it. Then his browser autofilled his address and contact information. He never submitted anything at all. So like, had I never done any of this stuff, that guy would have came to the site and left and never heard of him again. Maybe he sold to somebody else, maybe whatever the case is. And it was in like a really good area of Vegas in a nice master plan community. And we ended up making $150,000 on that assignment fee for a guy that never submitted his information, Yeah. And when we reached out to him, he's like, "That's so crazy that you call me, because I was definitely thinking about it." Like the sales team didn't necessarily know how it ended up in the CRM, but like when I looked at it, I'm like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Listening to the call, so that just prompted me to go deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole.
And people might be wondering, like, what the hell are these two people talking about, right?
Yeah.
But titles like $6 million in profit with 12 team members.
Yeah.
Right. And it's what I like about you and all the conversations we have is that you are super tactical, right? You're strategic and tactical. So like we have again at Collective Genius, there was one time where we had two presenters. It was you and Jason Lewis. Okay. Right? And like these two guys run two of the most profitable wholesaling companies. And they basically violate this one rule that a lot of people have, which is that they're both the visionary and the integrator.
Yep.
Right? Because usually it's like the visionary, all right, Casey, you do everything. I'm going to tell us where we're going.
Right.
But you do all the work.
It's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde or whatever. Yeah. It's like two split personalities, and they're like they're polar opposites.
Right? And then Jason's an individualist like me, right? So I can totally see it because I can be integrator and visionary. I can switch gears, but mostly Mavericks, not so much.
Right.
So you're a Maverick, but still love to get in the weeds. And the things that you like to do, again, that separate you from what a lot of other people is like you want to like figure out how to get in there and like game the system.
Yeah, I like to cut the line, the best way to cut the line. And it usually comes from efficiencies or like crafty, angles to come in.
And like there's another person that's like that is Joe Taylor, but he'll never come on.
Really?
He just wants, I don't know, you have to talk to him. He lives here.
Yeah.
He bought a house with me. I was his realtor. Right?
It's been a while ago.
It's been a while, right? I mean, I wasn't showing the houses. Right? It's just my name on the contract. But anyway, he lives here. Refuses to be on the show.
Really? Joe's got a lot to share. He's the OG, and he's got a lot of knowledge.
Probably why he doesn't.
Maybe, yeah.
But so like the two things you guys have in common, like you guys are both like, how can I get in there and figure out a way that gives me this massive competitive advantage?
Yep.
Where do you think that comes from?
If you're a real estate investor with a sales team and you're stuck babysitting reps instead of growing your business, this is for you. Right now, your reps are burning through your expensive leads like they're practice dummies. They're making costly mistakes you won't catch for weeks, and 70% of your potential revenue is walking to competitors because of inconsistent follow-up. That's why over 130 operators are now using objectionproof.ai to automatically review every single call within minutes, train reps with AI roleplay sessions, and never miss another follow-up. Stop watching your competitors pull ahead while you're trapped doing manager work. Click the link in the description and book a call with my team to see how we can help you install a self-managing sales team this week.
Oh man. I think that, the tactical side of stuff, or just the wanting to bend the rules or find a
well, you want to bend the rules because like you and me and probably a lot of listeners feel like the rules don't apply to us.
The rules are for other people.
Rules are great for society.
Yeah.
It's not for us.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So not that part. But where the desire, like the gaming, the like figure out like this next advantage, like because you're good at it.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy it, and I think it'd be fun to apply it to other businesses, which is why I was excited to share that with you for yours. I I don't know. Maybe it's just how we're built. You know, I just I don't think there's any like thing that happened or a reason why. It's just like we're built different. I don't know. I like to do that. I like I like puzzles. You know, like mental exercises. So like it just seems to be like, and a lot of times too, a lot of this stuff seems obvious. The hardest part, it seems obvious, like to have these good ideas, right? Or I think everybody has good ideas all the time. I think that what sets me apart is that I'm actually able to execute on them,
Right.
you know? And I think that probably comes from my days through college as an engineer, because I never actually took an engineering job, but and it's just all problem solving. That's what the entire, 5 years, 4 years, whatever it is, it's just problem solving. So
I'm trying to think of all the different engineers, right? So there's me, you, right? There's Ryan Weimer, there's Jared Vidalis. I can't say for sure Ryan. Definitely three of us. We love to find the angle, find that advantage. The other thing too, makes you different than most other guys doing a lot of volume, is I don't know a lot of people still using Podio.
Yeah, I'm the last man standing pretty much.
Why are you still using Podio?
Oh my, because I've got back in the day, like I just remember like late nights, like sitting there with like I'm sure my wife looking over in bed, like just my face glowing in the computer and like
Your laptop in your bed.
Yes, I sleep with it. I got a bed laptop, a work laptop, a car. No, but just late nights and I've put so much like. I probably would be more willing to make the shift had I not. One, I know this platform inside and out, and like the flaws that it has, like I can overcome. So they're not really issues for me. But two, I've got like an ecosystem back there. I don't know if you know, like you can click on one of the things and it shows you all the strings of how everything's all attached and
I never got that deep into Podio.
Okay. Well, it's like any software flow. You could see like, well, this affects that and this updates that, whatever.
All the
it's like
automations.
a freaking spider web of like 1,500 different things that interact with, 10,000 different fields. And I'm just in too deep. I'm not, they got me. They're watching this thing.
So for you to switch, it would be.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare. And the opportunity cost would be insane. Like everything that I would lose, the time that and for me, like more and more as the time has gone on, so I'd say for like the last 4 or 5 years or so, like my priority has been initially automations were cool to optimize things. And then it became like, okay, that's optimized and that's over optimized. And what am I doing here? I need to stop. Like I have to constantly remind myself, I'm like, if I never did this, would anything change at all in my business? Or if I do accomplish this, like, will it improve for us? So like, that's usually how I try to like prioritize what things I'm working on. But it went from that to just optimizing it to run efficiently. But then it went to like, I wanted it to still maintain my time. And so I just time blocked for 2 weeks. And I'll do this like probably every year. I try to do it more frequently than that, but realistically every year, spend a couple of weeks just time blocking the best that you can. And then look at where you're spending your time, what category does it pull into, and then try to like piece those off. But with the ultimate goal, like I have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So like, I don't want to miss those years. And I knew that from the beginning that was like, that's what this is all about. Like, what's the point of doing any of this if you don't have the freedom to spend that time with your kids? And once they get older, like let's say 14 or older, those years are gone. And I know I'll look back and those will be like the best years of my life. You'll miss them, the frustrating moments, whatever. You'll crave that, right? So I've just, I just wanted to make sure that I had the time to do that, and that things that could be automated wouldn't slip through the cracks. Like if I was taking a week-long vacation, or if I was never missing a performance, or whatever the case was, or when you get home, like not being like a slave to certain tasks that you do repetitively that could be optimized.
This might sound really dumb. Are you saying that you're staying with Podio because the time to switch CRMs would take?
That's probably accurate. Yeah.
Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've got too much invested in it. So
yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I just wasn't sure.
They just got bought. I'm pretty hopeful. So
oh yeah, oh I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too was, and going back to AI, is that you and Stephanie Betters did a presentation on the main stage at Click, right? Where she was talking about deal signals, and you were talking about what you're doing inside of Podio to enhance your data, enrich your data.
Yep.
So, which is a newer concept, right?
For sure. And I can't believe it's not out soon. I can't believe that some CRMs actually do have a good version of that, but I can't believe it's not just innate with them, like a feature that they have.
So what is data enrichment?
So it's funny because when they asked me to do that presentation, I already knew Stephanie. We would talk occasionally, whatever, or when we'd see each other. But like, I don't remember who paired us up, but they're like, you and Stephanie should do this presentation because you talked about that and she's doing the exact same thing. I was like, no way. I didn't know anybody else was doing that.
Yeah.
So basically it's like, again, you start to accumulate these leads over the years. And
real quick, how many years have you been in the business?
My first deal was 2013, but I was still in school for 2 more years. So 2015, I went full time. And then 2018 is when I went direct to seller. And we can go back to that story later to how that journey started in the beginning. But 2018 to now is when
So 10 years really of
Sure.
leads.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that stuff starts to pile up. And like if you don't have something watching all those to like boot out the ones that are like got sold 2 years ago, like I would just see that so often that like we've called this person 375 times or whatever the case is over those years. And I'm like, it's been sold for 6 months or it's been sold for 2 years. Like that just infuriated me. So,
and you're still calling them.
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time like auditing to try to like prevent or like trying to cleanse it manually, like export a file and put it into here and then bring stuff back. And it was like just a pain. And you're just wasting your team's time that whole period, like during that, or if it's like listed, not that those aren't ever deals, but like typically we don't want to focus on that. So
well, I mean, like for us, when I was still wholesaling, it would be like, okay, we export solds from the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go in our MLS, right? Log in as a realtor, download all the sold data, take that data, go into batch leads with our list stacker.
Yep. That's exactly how I would do it too.
Right. And then all right, let's remove all those. So now we've removed our database and just making sure that once a quarter, our VAs were exporting from the MLS.
Yep.
Putting out batch leads and updating. At that time, I think we were still using Podio. So whatever that back database for Podio.
Yep.
That's what we were doing. So anyway.
Same exact thing. Yeah. It's so crazy how far things have come. Like I remember when list stacking software started to come out and I was like buried in Excel sheets and trying to do formulas and whatnot. And like, then list stacking came out and I'm like, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. And now we have AI. It's like, not even, it's like, that was kindergarten. It's crazy. Cute. Yeah, that's cute. That was cute. But yeah, so the enrichment is like, again, a lot of CRMs will bring in like property characteristics and stuff. A lot of the times though, that stuff or like last sold dates or whatnot, I don't know how other CRMs are set up necessarily, but like, I don't know if they're monitoring that ongoing. So that's super important. And that's just like your key things like sold, is it listed? Obviously square footage and those characteristics aren't changing, but loan balances, are they going up? Are they going down? Or interest rates, are they going up or down? But so it started with that. Like I just wanted something that I could bring in all that data so that we could focus on, because I had spent a lot of time like creating a avatar, like what the ideal house or the ideal person looks like, the back end. And that was more so done on like a marketing perspective, for like, direct mail or whatever. Back in the day when I do a lot of SMS, that's where it all rooted from, is stacking these things to like identify the right person and the right property. And then looking at, the past transactions that you've done, the last deals, contracts, whatever, and like which ones made the most amount of money. So like I can say like this is a majority of who these people are, but like this pool makes me more money than this pool. So just identifying all that. But then that was like from a marketing perspective, and then rolling into your CRM. So you have this 5, 10, 15,000 leads in your CRM. And there is so much money, like you said, there is so much money and so much you could do in that. And there's millions of dollars of marketing spent on that.
Oh yeah.
And especially in our industry, it's like, it's a business of timing and circumstance through and through. So like, just because like at one point in time, 99% of people are asking retail for their house, and something changes. And then that's not the case anymore, So just being able to watch for those changes on all 15,000, like like hour by hour checks to see if changes in those data sets have happened. So I actually did that secondary to this AI thing, and then AI made it a lot easier to like I almost went deeper into the automations and stuff once AI came out, because I'm not a coder. Like I can do like little stuff, like I'm, like back in the day when you do your MySpace page and whatnot, like think of it like that. Like I'm editing fonts or whatever. It was a little bit different, but same concept. That's not that, like a big code blocks, like that's not me. So when AI came out, I could just paste stuff and be like, make it do this instead. And it's like, spits it out. I'm like, it worked great.
Right.
Before it'd be like 2 weeks waiting for a developer to change something and messaging with them because they're in a different time zone and blah, blah. So so it made it like so much easier to like changes on the fly, like complex things that I never could accomplish before because, or even the developers didn't know, because like a lot of times, like how your process internally works and you need X thing to happen. And then as you encounter problems in it, like it's easier for you to be like, well, we can't do that as a solution because the sales guys don't put notes in, like, or whatever, like an engineer with merging with like how the actual operation works. But so the AI made it great for that. But basically it's just all those leads 24/7. It is watching them. All of a sudden they get a notice of default. Boom, we're notified. All of a sudden it becomes vacant and it wasn't vacant before. Boom, we're notified. And like, it just tells you of those 15,000, like which ones you want to be focusing on, like brings the cream of the crop to the top. So yeah.
So high level, what we're doing here is you got your 15,000 people in your CRM. Anytime there's an update to someone inside your 15,000 who an event has occurred, something's happened to the property, something's happened to the credit, whatever, now it gets pulled up to the top. And now your sales guys know who to talk to.
Correct. Yep. It just make all of these things little by little, I think are a big part of why we've been able, having like, if you've got a small team, you got to make sure that every person on that team is a rock star, like A+ player, top tier. Like that's what, when you're small like that and you're doing volume, everybody's got to be great. So it just lets them do what they're best at and focus like all of that skill on the task that they're great at. And otherwise it's kind of chaos. Like you don't like the obvious answer for them and is before then is just hit all the new leads, and like everything else just gets lost in the weeds, forgotten.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's like so that was really helpful to just help them remain efficient in what to focus on and where to direct like our drip campaigns. Like if that trigger happens, all of a sudden they're fired back up in a drip,
I got a message from a client yesterday. Like, hey, like we use deal signals, we use your AI tool. Can we just have deal signals trigger your AI? I was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, there you go. Small idea, probably big impact.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does how are you doing? So that's a what, but like, is there particular data sources that you're using? Is there something you have to use specifically for Podio? How are you able to constantly enrich the data?
So there's been some of some products that have came out that have tried to do this. Stephanie has it for Salesforce, right? But like going through this process myself too, like I wanted control over like what the data source was, because I would see some of the one that came out with it at the time. I would see some inaccuracies, like it would think things are sold when they're not, or it wouldn't recognize that something was listed when it was, or whatever the case is. A lot of like, or mortgage balances are like way higher than they're doubled or whatever the case is. So then I went through a bunch of different ones, but like all of them at the end of the day are like funnel back to the major data providers, which is like First American, Black Knight, CoreLogic, like and whatnot. So I wanted to have the control over what data set was being used. And you just do that with like basically webhooks. It's like, think of it like Podio's emailing CoreLogic with an address, and then CoreLogic is emailing it back, but with like structure, like address equals this, name equals this, whatever, parcel number equals that. Yeah. That's for everybody else. Like that's how the systems communicate. But it'll bring back like additional data points that weren't already in the CRM.
So you're pulling in from like the major data providers?
No, I don't go get contracts with them directly. Like I'm not in that business. So I'll use
a lot. That's expensive.
Yeah. You have to have massive contracts. Like I don't have a software service for that. So it'd be like you would just get plugged in with like batch leads or property radar or prop stream or any of those types of softwares. And then they have APIs or webhooks that will communicate back and forth with your CRM.
Yeah. But you built that all out.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I had a developer that was like, could do it, but they were just so slow and it's driving me crazy. And like, I'm just, again, if I don't do something right then and there, it's gone. So like, and when I get like interested in something, it's like exciting to solve those problems and get it up and running right away.
But obviously it's been valuable.
Yes, for sure. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And again, like, we're talking about here is how to be insanely profitable with a small company. Cause like there's all these different ways to run a business. But you've always chosen to stay leaner. So like as long as I've known you, going back a long, long time, you've always wanted to run leaner because you want to be able to basically do whatever you want whenever you want it.
Yeah.
Right?
The more people you have, the more management, it just gets complicated.
Right. Obligations, responsibilities, this and that.
Yes.
So, I mean, when I heard earlier 12, I was like, dang, like his team blew up.
Blew up. Yeah. We grew by like 30%. It's 3 people.
Yeah. Cause like I think in the past it's always like you and like 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like to run again an insanely profitable business, like you have to do things that are not necessarily intuitive, not necessarily mainstream, and then you have to get your hands dirty to really get the solution that you wanted.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think again, because like to go back what you said, the integrator versus visionary thing, those are 2 very separate people, and that probably is like my unique ability is that like those like to be able to have like the integration part of executing on stuff, but still have the vision of like this would be a great idea to do a X, Y, and Z as that process is happening versus like the handoff of like a visionary to an integrator saying like, hey, let's try to do this. First off, most of the time the visionary is probably going to be missing many of the details or not understand how the execution has to happen. So like what's nice for me is like as I'm going along, like that visionary is still there. Like it's like the angel and the devil on my shoulder.
Which one's the angel?
The angel's the integrator. For sure. What's funny is too my profile is like a straight harsh line across. Like it does not look like I should be doing any of the stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, so I kind of go back to what I was talking about earlier. So like again, I brought you when I brought you in, my team's like, Casey Ryan, like who do we know? Like where do we know him from, right? So every webinar I've done, and I've done about a webinar every month, right, since March, and I always said the same 3 things, right? Like Stephanie Butters says, hey, you need to create this AI tool for everybody because like you're the sales guy, you and Ian are the sales guys, like might as well just be the AI sales guy. Brad Chandler is like, hey, I really need your help. Can you do this for me? Like we need some role play bots, score our guys, make sure they're ready for like the real leads that cost me $400 an appointment. Right? I don't want to just send someone out. Like I need to qualify them. So like, can you create a tool, get them up to speed faster, and then tell me when they're ready?
Yep.
Right.
That's another beautiful part about that is that I never really knew the answer to like if you brought somebody new on, like how long before you start letting them touch your $1,000 leads or whatever it is. It's like now you just have them do those calls until they start getting a consistent score above like 80% or 75%, whatever the case is. Like now you're like, I think they're ready. They got,
yeah. And our clients are using it for that specific purpose now, which is pretty cool. And then the third person was you, right? It was the third day. We're all hanging by the pool, kind of hot in Dallas. But hanging by the pool, you're like, hey, like you should do this thing, like you've been working on, but like, hey, I've been doing it for myself, but you should do it for everybody.
Yeah.
And it was that where I came back to the team. I was like, hey, like 3 different people at CG says I need to do this.
The tribe has spoken.
Like, I think we have to do it. So unless you guys all like think this is a terrible idea, this direction we're going, and we did it. And the thing I'm incredibly grateful for, like Ian, he's been working on AI for like the last 2 years prior to our conversation. And I always thought it was a waste of time, right? But once we had this idea, I was like, okay, I guess we're doing it. Hey, Ian, like that thing that I said was a waste of time, like that's me.
Yeah, I had this great idea, Ian.
So we took his bot, but we ran with it. But where I'm really grateful is that I can also be visionary and integrator.
Yep.
Right. So I just took it from March to where we are today, but like I built out the whole thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here as like a work of like engineering beauty.
It's just like Podio in the back. It's Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's Frankenstein. And now my brother
It's
is
all
making
duct
it look,
tape and super glue. Yeah.
it looks a lot better now because my brother's here. We have a real engineer
Okay.
on this. But we're able to build it all out. And I'm really grateful again, like to be able to be the vision and the integrator, right? It is a competitive
For sure.
and then anything I missed there as far as the enrichment component?
Only one other. So like, I'll just go a little bit step because I broke that out into basically 3 sections. So once you have the information coming back in, obviously you can just say like, hey, if foreclosure comes back, then, initiate this action, like, or tell somebody to call it or send them a text message, whatever. But a lot of this stuff, like you've got to pair, situation with the data points that you've been given. So like example, like I split it into the 3 parts. So like, one is the score of like the motivation of the seller themselves. Then 2 is the score of the property, like as a core, like we were talking about earlier, is you've got your property avatar and you've got your seller avatar, like what's the demographic of the person or situation that is, best suited for your business, and what's the property that typically is most profitable or best suited for your business. So determining 2 scores, like in the person situation, like you said, the 650 credit score thing, like I'm actually not pulling in credit scores for people when they submit, but I'm looking at the conversations that are had, because like on the surface level, we've all probably had those deals that are like, a 5-year-old house that's like a newer build. There's not a whole lot wrong with it, and they still end up selling at a discount because of X, Y, and Z reason, right? Mm-hmm. And on the surface, if you just look at the property, it's not a fit. Or you have ones that are, the sellers are not showing their cards, right? Like the condition of the house or the age of it. Like they say it needs no repairs. It's all original from like 1962, like whatever the case is. So like blending those, determining a score based on that. AI was very helpful in just like helping me, giving it a bunch of properties and characteristics and be like, these properties made this much for us each. And it's like, okay, well then it just looks at all the data. I'm like, you don't need a data scientist anymore. You just dump it all in there. It's like, let me know what you think, and it spits out like, this is your best suited. I'm like, okay, great. Well, I wanted to make a score based on the square footage. How long ago did they buy it? How much equity do they have? Whatever. Make me a rubric. So like just iteration after iteration, then you get a good scoring model there. And then same thing with the transcriptions, right? It's like they said X, Y, and Z keyword triggered it to say, like, if they say whatever the case is, that you build a score, like the scoring that you're getting back based on their motivation, pairing those. And then the third aspect of it that we added is basically it's physical scoring of the property. So we just take the Google Street View and the Google aerial of it, and we got like an image modeling thing in between. And basically what that allows it to do is look and see, is there an empty pool? Mm-hmm. Is the roof just tattered? Is it boarded up? Is there a, an old junker car in the front lawn? Is the landscape all overgrown? All of those little factors. So I just take all 3 of those scores. Obviously, before you talk to them, you only have 2 of them, so the score is determined then. And then if they talk to them and let's say that it doesn't have any physical thing, the property isn't really a fit, but they need to sell tomorrow because whatever, they're going back home and they're terminally ill, whatever the case is, like that would raise the score up. So like I just blend those 3 things together.
You really nerded out.
It's just like, what does the property look like? What's somebody going through? And is it an old house and they have equity? Like blend all those together and tell me which one's to focus on.
But the part about like the image, like I hadn't heard that before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So when they come in, they get that score right off the bat.
Yeah. And what you're talking about is you kind of like turn on machine learning.
Yeah.
Inside your own CRM. I had a chance. I remember Chris Richter. He spoke again at CG, right? Founder of Audantic. One of the most expensive lists, but also like one of the most profitable lists.
That guy's a genius, and he's hilarious.
Yeah. And I remember he said this kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I won't say he let it slip, but he kind of said it jokingly, but like I believed him. Right? It's like, like the 2 most important data points in every homeowner where you're buying for distress is that they play the lottery after work on Fridays and they smoke cigarettes. And he said that. I was like, probably true.
It is, yeah. It's like, I think from him too, I always got the analogy when I try to explain to people what propensity scoring is, or just data aggregation is like, does Johnny buy the organic apple or the tall boy at 7-Eleven? Like, I want Mr. Tall Boy.
Exactly. And then maybe just to kind of wrap it up, from what I'm hearing is that you're pulling data from all these different places, which is not new information.
No.
The difference is you're looking at that data and then see how it correlates to the people inside your CRM, and that tells a story. And this is where, again, I heard you guys say it on stage. It's basically you turn your CRM, which is basically kind of like this thing, to like a living organism.
Yeah.
That's constantly providing fruit.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it too, it's like if your only job was to just dig through your CRM and look at old notes and look at activity and look at properties that look beat up or whatever, like, and there was 10 of you doing it, like, you'd probably come up with some deals here and there that were old leads. Like, this is looking at like all 15,000 at the exact same time in milliseconds and like pairing it all together with like, it's just insane. So it is the future for sure.
So you turn on Skynet, really.
Yeah.
You're
it's
the
like
reason
we discovered the internet. That's how it feels.
Yeah, you're the reason why we're all going to get killed by Skynet. And then anything else as far as AI, anything you've seen interesting, innovation that we're going to be seeing in our industry or in general?
I mean, it's every month I feel like it's getting drastically better. But the voice agents, right? They're just, it's insane how far they're coming. Like, I didn't implement it in the beginning. And after doing all these other projects, I realized what a heavy lift that actually is, right? To get something that can interact like instantly with people, and the tonality and everything, like, it's a very tough thing to do. But like, I think in a few years from now, it'll just be like 100% like interacting with a person. Like, the best one that I've seen so far, the best like voice interact is when you talk to GPT, you know, like that voice, like what's her name? Shimmer, or you know what I'm talking about? That's a stripper name, but her interactions are so good. Like her pauses, like the little nuances of how she interacts in her voice. Like it's like instant, perfect answer, and like the ums and the buts is like very, very, very human. I haven't, like, once all that is worked out, like being able to implement a Shimmer to be able to call your customers and whatnot, or text back and forth with them where you're not waiting for the human interaction, it's just going to be a game changer.
Well, I think we're already there.
We are, but I think that like it's going to get drastically better over the next year.
It's going to get better. I mean, the biggest thing. So like from what I've seen, and I'm obviously paying a lot of attention.
Yeah. You're in that space, right? I jump back in and out every so often.
But like, I think this is the year where like everyone that doesn't opt in or doesn't decide to add AI to their business, I think this is the last year they're in business. Like, just like listen to what you just said, right? You're pulling Google image photos, roof, empty pool or not, right? Like, how do you compete it?
I don't. It's fun. Yeah, I think for a long time you could get away with it because I would see like other businesses that have been established for like 30 years and smaller businesses, whatnot, but like they're still like filling out invoices and putting things in paper files and like that. They just keep rolling like that. It's like, that's just how we do it. You know,
it's always been done this way. We're going to always do it this way.
But in our industry, it's like ultra competitive. Like you're going to get left behind, and margins are tightening and tightening and tightening.
Yeah, especially with regulations, everything else. Yep. I was listening to the podcast and I heard Elon Musk say this, and he said it is obvious, but I never thought about it until recently, or until he said it. A computer used to be a job title for a person, right?
Really?
Yeah, like the interest rates. Like, hey, like Casey, what is the mortgage payment going to be for this many year mortgage at this interest rate, right? For this price, go calculate it. And then they'd be back there.
Yeah.
Like that was an actual job title, right? And so like now, you know, a spreadsheet obviously eliminated that guy.
Right.
But then there's just more and more things where we're like kind of condensing what are available jobs. So
I think and I mean, I know that some jobs you could definitely argue are going to be eliminated, but at the same time too, I think the progress that's going to happen over the next couple decades with these tools. So like, just like how we have a small team, whose efforts is focused and amplified, like that effect on the like productivity of people that are in the workplace like is going to explode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So then transition to the next part. So we talked about like all the tech advantages you have, but it's not just the tech, right? You also have amazing people.
Yes.
So talk about that, because again, before you're like, I don't want to manage people.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel that way too. So,
but you're managing more people now.
yeah.
So talk about like how you're able to build this up and build it up, not just build it up and increase it, but also build it up well. Because hiring is like the hardest thing to get right. Yep. But when you get it right, it makes life so much better.
Yeah. And once you can crack that code, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like, yeah, I feel like that's probably the most valuable skill that you can have in business is being able to hire effectively and identify, like having a good picker, like finding good people and identifying who they are and being able to paint a vision where they want to come on board with you and then treating them right over a long period of time so that they want to stay with you. But yeah, because you could have like all the best systems in the world. You could have all the fancy AI, this or that or whatever. And if you got a shitty team, it doesn't matter. You could have the best marketing. It doesn't matter, you know? And at the end of the day, especially in our industry, it's tough because, you know, a lot of the transition is coming from boomers, right? Like that is a good transition of wealth. And that's going to come from a majority of people hold their wealth in their home, right? So, those types of people want to stare you in the eyes and shake your hand. So like that having those types of people, our industry, again, like you can't go and grab the best car sales guy at the lot and say, you know, this guy's the best record setter, Hall of Famer car sales guy, drop him in our industry and watch him fall on his face. Like that does not work. You need people that like are genuinely good people that connect. And we're like in an industry too, that you can take it, like people can be taken advantage of. So you have to make sure that the people that are representing you, your business, going out and doing this in the world are you know, helping people in the right way, you know, and not taking. So you're looking for like this unicorn type of human being that's like an incredible, like there's so many boxes that they have to check in order to be effective, you know. So it's really, really, really tough. So like if I didn't have those people on my team utilizing all this stuff, it would all be worthless. So
how do you identify who to bring into the company?
I'm still working on that. I would say like the last probably year and a half, I've probably spent like a lot of time trying to improve, because it's a skill that you have to develop. It's having like a good process where you're not, you know, weeding out too heavy or filtering out too heavily where you're missing out on people. But typically those people I found by referrals. Like I've probably had three good hires over the years that were just like strangers to me, you know? But like typically if I call Steve and I like Steve and he's like, oh yeah, I know this guy I used to work with over here and he's a great dude. Like that's going to be your best hire typically. I've tried to be intentional about going through your phone book and keeping a list of people that you know are, you know, have traits for maybe certain roles that you like, whether it's like they're charismatic or whether they're, you know, a creative thinker or whatever their talent is, and keeping a little Rolodex of that, and then trying to keep in touch with it. For which from CG, we had the founder of Byte, which is like the Invisalign retainer type things, and then the co-founder of Zillow, I forget it was Spencer, is his name, whatever. So that was a tip that he said. I'm like, that seems so obvious. And then he basically treats that list like his seller leads or whatever. He follows up with them like very organically, but like quarterly or every other quarter, whatever, just staying in touch with them. So that when he goes and does the next thing or is looking for that next person, that person is on his radar, or somebody that they know he's able to get because he's still in touch with them. And then in addition to it, I had one other point there. I lost it.
Well, I remember even like last month when we were hanging out in San Diego, Jacob Mullins was like, hey, a buddy of mine lives in Vegas. You need to hire him. And he would not leave you alone until you guys got in the group text. So we're talking, this is like, I think we were at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is like, is it same time in Vegas? California and Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
They're both Pacific, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're texting this guy at 12:30 in the morning. I think he responded.
He responded like that. Yeah. And he's followed up. He actually texted me today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this guy follows up. So
right. So referrals is really the best.
Referrals, I'd say is the best. And then a lot of these people, this is what I was going to say, is that a lot of these people, the real winners, they have jobs. Like talented people are not sitting around unemployed. That's the reality of it. So like a lot of times you have to like stay in people's ears, or like it's a long process, because you don't want somebody that is just willing to be like, all right, I'm jumping ship, right? Or maybe something changes of their job and there's an opportunity to get them, but like you got to be in front of them for that to happen.
Yeah. So Craigslist is not the way to go.
No, I went Backpage when it was around. That was the jam.
And then you said something to me earlier that I was surprised to hear, which is you're now selling your assets.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City, because like you were buying a lot of assets in Oklahoma City.
Yep.
I think when we were getting to know each other better.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought a lot of single family houses in a short period of time. I think it was like 16, and they were one by one by one. So like from a wholesaler, like it wasn't like, hey, a batch of 20. So one by one, underwriting everyone, making offers on everyone. But it was 16 months, and I think I bought roughly 120 single family. Mm-hmm. And then I bought 2 apartment complexes, and then did a storage deal. And my office building was around that same time. All of it was driven by, the tax advantages and the tax bills I was getting. So I wanted to be able to write it off. But like, I just have realized over the years, like it's not all the glory that it seems to be, like the rental properties.
It's not the glory?
No, not for me anyways.
I mean, there was a book about it, Rich Dad Poor Dad. It says like, this is the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, different environment, different time. I'm not sure. Or maybe I just don't have it figured out. But
so what is it about it that's where the shine has kind of like faded?
Well, they don't make a lot of money, or they lose money. Mm-hmm. If you have a rent, you have a good stint of 2 years, you rent it out, and then a tenant just decides to wreck all the brand new cabinets. Then there goes, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 every single time it turns. Like if the cash flow is only a couple $100 a month, it's like, it's just not worth, well, especially not out of state, I would say, or maybe the wrong property manager. I don't know. The answer is, I don't want to figure it out. I'd rather just find other ways to lessen my tax burden and try to make more money if I do have to pay taxes, whatever. And then just remove that distraction and headache from my life.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of rental properties, but the few we have, they're paid off, right?
That's good. Then you have cash flow.
Well, that was the thing though. It's like, we're not cash flowing what I would expect.
Right.
I was like, I would expect to have this much in the bank account at the end of the year. It's like, we don't.
Right.
Like, there's always something breaking nonstop.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people that have figured it out. It's just not me. And it's so boring to me. Like, I just don't want to focus on it.
I mean, there's a couple of different things. I remember we were having a dinner or lunch, whatever. It was roundtable. It was me, Medley. I can't remember who else it was. But everyone was talking about their tax strategies, how to save money, this and that, right? And Jason's like, he's been around the block for a while.
Yep.
Right? And he's like, you guys are doing it all wrong. We're like, what are you talking about? He was saying, well, I appreciate not wanting to pay taxes, but that's just the cost of the game. And all these things you guys are doing is just taking time away from what you're really good at.
Agreed.
Which is making money.
Yep.
So he said that, and I was like, that's an interesting take. He is older than me. He has seen more. Maybe he knows what he's talking about.
Right. I try to sit there with an open ear all the time. If you would have rewound 3 years ago, I got lucky too, because I bought them all in like 2020, mostly in early 21. And obviously the market has done what it's done since then. So I had good equity to help me get out alive on them. But yeah, like a lot of those little sentiments of wisdom, like at the time, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not paying taxes. I'm just going to do what I was going to do anyways. But in retrospect, I'm like, he's right. I should have just parked all that money in the S&P 500 and that would have been good.
Well, the other thing too, so back in 2019, this is where we first met, right? So this is back when I was still doing wholesaling coaching, right? I was doing events and this and that. And we had something we threw together, and it was like I was friends with Ryan Pinedo already, and he was like, you got to meet my friend Casey Ryan. All right, so you were there. Carlos Reyes, Jesse Burrell, Evo, Pace, Jamil, Brent Daniels, Rafael Cortez, right? Like we're all hanging out.
Yep.
And we're just as mastermind. And then Stratton Brown, like also that guy was there.
Yep.
Right. But then we also had Matt Larson there. And I remember specifically in that mastermind, he said the same exact thing. He's like, I've got 250 properties and it's a pain in my ass and I'm going to start selling. I was like, Matt, what are you talking about? Like, this is the dream, right? Because he had hundreds. I can't remember how many hundreds, but it was hundreds.
You know what's funny is that him saying that had like been a doubt in the back of my mind the whole time I was doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's done it and he's saying don't. And he probably bought them deeper than I did at a better time than I did. Yeah. And he's saying don't.
Well, and it was Quad Cities, I think is what they call it, right? Like they're cash flowing, right? Midwest, they cash flow.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, like it's not everything is cracked up to be.
Right.
And you just keep thinking like, how can this be?
Yeah. And for for most people too, like I do think it's a great vehicle to ride the appreciation if you're in an appreciating market. If you're in a market that is not like that, like what is $200 a month going to do for you? Nothing. And in addition to that, like it usually doesn't end up being that because the second water here goes out, there's $1,000. So what? Then there goes 5 months of cash flow, right? Or then they're vacant. Like you got to account for all of these things. And it just, especially now with the way the interest rates are, like my rate, that was the other tough part is like my rates on a lot of these are 3.75, 3.9, 4.25, like in that range. And I'm still having a tough time ever getting them to cash flow. So, and I know it's like, all right, be patient, wait 30 years. It'll be paid off. I'm like, I'm done. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, even I remember Brent Daniels came on here, I think it was beginning of last year, because he was talking about like rental properties are overrated. I was like, Brent, you can't just say these things, right? Like, come on the show. Let's have a debate about it. And that was kind of his point. He was like, yeah, you want to buy properties in the Midwest and whatever, but like if it's not appreciating, you're playing the wrong game, right? Like, you got to buy something that's going to appreciate, and if you can like cash flow or break even, like that's great. But you got to play the appreciation game you buy.
100%.
Not cash flow game, because the cash flow game is not it.
No, and the chunk of rentals that I bought, I had about 15 in Vegas, and then the rest were in Oklahoma. I made more money on those 15 than I did on all 120 in Oklahoma. and if you look at it too, especially if you're in an appreciating market, like one thing I think that people overlook is like you've got to look over time what your return on the equity that you have in those properties is, because like if you've got, I know you have to pay taxes and blah, blah, blah. The good news, is that recaptures at 25% instead of whatever your ordinary tax rate is. Depends for people. But you got to recap. But if you've got, a couple 100,000 sitting in there, you're like, well, I paid this. I have this much, I put a down payment of 20 and then I refinanced it and I got $0. It's like you've got 200 grand in equity sitting in there for 300 grand or $300 a month. Like that's not a good return on your money. Park it in the S&P 500, pay your taxes, and you're going to be better off. Yeah. And you don't have to think about anything at all.
Right.
No tenants, no houses burning down and tornadoes and people getting shot in them. It's like a lot.
Did you have that in OKC?
I've had all of the above. Yeah. Yeah. No tornadoes actually yet, but I have had roofs torn off and whatnot.
So there's some trauma there as well. We're going to have a therapy session after this. Disruptors after hours. Another thing that you had wrote down, which is interesting, is don't risk the empire for a pot of gold. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah. I think I was just reminded of it over and over and over again. I think that my real superpower is like so many people get like the AI stuff, you could argue is definitely a shiny object, but it's almost one of those things that you're going to get left behind, and it unlocks doors for efficiencies that give you back your time. So for me, it was worth the distraction. But in general, I stay very, very focused on what I'm doing. Rentals was, I guess, a deviation to an extent, but like I'm not going around like people are like, why don't you do Airbnbs? It's like, because I don't do that. I'm not doing that. Why don't you do whatever lease backs or this or that, whatever creative new strategy that I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. I'm sticking to what we do great and doing it over and over and over again and trying to get better at that. And that is why we've been able to corner the Vegas market. It's ultra competitive because we have a rock star team of people and we stay super focused on what we're best at. So when I say don't risk the empire for a pot of gold, it's like I just watch people like, oh, I'm going to have, this business and that business and whatever. Like, and maybe it works for some people. And some people are serial entrepreneurs or whatever the case is. But, you've just seen the people that are the wealthiest in life typically focused on one business and focused on that one thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by don't risk the empire for a pot of gold. It seems shiny, but there's strings attached for sure.
Yeah. I mean, can you think of any instances, no names necessarily, but like things or even like trends you notice where people are like doing this quite a bit inside of our industry, where they're chasing this, chasing that? I mean, the one I hear all the time, and I feel like I'm like the best, what's the one I'm looking for? It's not AA, right? But it's like, brokerage owner anonymous, right? It's like, I'll be at like CG, I'll be at a boardroom, or someone else like, I'm going to start a brokerage. It's like, well, hang on.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. I
don't do that.
I was trying to think of like more recent thing, but yeah, that's one that comes up over and over again. And I'm just laugh. I'm like, why would you want to do that? Like, even if there is some model somewhere where you can make money on that, like it just becomes to me, it seems like the most horrendous business you could ever have, which is managing a bunch of people. Like the more people you have, the more time suck it is. They're calling you this, that, and more liability that they're pouring onto you. And they're like I feel like when people make transitions in their life and they're like, oh, I got let go of this, or, oh, like I'm, at least in Vegas, it's like, once their career expires as a pool cocktail waitress or whatever, they're like, I'm going to get my real estate license. Like, or are there people that are like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to go be a real estate agent. Like, so you're dealing with like these, a lot of times there's certain type of people. There's a reason that, the top 5% or like why the top probably 1% of agents do 85% of the business. It's like, because that's the cream of the crop people that got their stuff together. But the majority of the time, you don't get to manage those people. Like it's all these people in between. And it's just like a huge time suck. And that model is changing where like there's splits on commissions and stuff, like little by little, that's dwindling away too. Like I don't know anybody that really has a setup like that.
So you're in kind of a unique position where you're in CG CEO, right? So we have, there's Elevate, Select, Premier, and then CEO. So, I mean, are there like, if we were to extrapolate this lesson here about, don't risk the empire for a pot of gold, are you finding that people inside a CEO really just do one thing?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say also the common trend in that room, which again, I love the tactical stuff and I miss Premier for that because like you've got the hustlers, you've got new ideas and, I like to listen to them and they're exciting, but or maybe I'll take a tidbit of like this and apply it to something else I'm doing that's valuable. I like the tactical stuff. I like execution. So there's a lot of value for me in that room, but like I knew the next chapter of my life is like the time and getting back the time. And more importantly, is just like elevating yourself because your organization's bottleneck is always going to be you. And when you're the bottleneck, like the main thing that you can level up is your leadership skills, your ability to hire. Like, so the trend that I just see in that room is like all of those guys are seasoned vets or the ones that have, they've all been in the industry for a while. They're just a really solid core of guys that have gotten to that next level because they themselves have become better people, like just as a human being, but learn the skills of leadership, learn the skills of hiring, learn the skills of delegation and management and like all these things those are the skills that the tactical stuff is fun. It is, you could apply it to a lot of different businesses down the road if I didn't do this, which that's not my plan, but like those are the skills that like allow you to build and run a business that you're not a slave to, that you just, so that's why I was really excited to go up to that level. And it's just a good core group of guys because you don't get to that level. You don't build a team like that and become a leader like that unless you're like a real solid human being at your core.
Yeah. And so then are you taking those lessons? Like how are you applying those lessons right now?
I mean, I'm just doing it. It's tough in the sense that I would say that for the people that are in that group that are in our business, because there's some people in other assets of real estate. There's people in there that are asset manager, like financial advisors and whatnot, and have tons of assets under management that are invested in the market. Like, so there's a good broad spectrum, but all these guys are wise beyond my years. It's funny that they all constantly remind me that, because I'm a bit younger than them, to don't miss your time with your kids. Mm-hmm. So like, it's nice to have that reminder, but like, they're holding me accountable and pouring into me. But the big difference, I think, one, other than the experience that they have that I don't, is that my team is much smaller than theirs, and I'm still very heavily involved, and I don't necessarily have like immediate plans in the future to try to exit or like replace myself in it. Like, I like what I do. I enjoy the business. I love everybody on my team. I like to go to the office and interact with them all the time, where a lot of them are like, they don't need to be there ever. And I don't necessarily need to. I'm blessed enough to where I can I can go on vacation for a week, 2 weeks, probably longer. And everything still goes just as planned. So I've got a good setup right now, but yeah, I try to take the skills that they teach me as far as like operationally and whatnot to implement them. But it's like little by little, because I'm not going to go hire, double, triple my team so that we can scale. Like, that's not my plan.
You have, even if you're not trying to hire and double or triple, you have, maybe not in 26, but maybe in 27, a person that can do like 80-90% of what you do. I know that you don't need to come in, and you enjoy coming in, but do you foresee that happening for you?
I've been chipping away at the stuff that I shouldn't be doing. So like finding somebody who's really good at some type of development, or finding somebody who's really good at whatever I'm doing on a consistent basis, like trying to begin to like delegate off those tasks and pour into the next person. Like, I just elevated somebody on my team who was our closing coordinator, and now she's helping with like so many like loose ends that either one, I do consistently that I need help with that I can't do as effectively because I'm too busy, or two, that just get completely neglected, like my Oklahoma portfolio. So like tying up all those loose ends and like getting things right and putting eyes on it. Like, so I'm just like little by little trying to like piece off these chunks of time suck of things that like, one, I notice I procrastinate because I don't like to do it, and I don't really procrastinate much unless I hate doing it. So I'm just trying to chunk those things off little by little and find a good person to fit for it.
What is your primary? Because you mentioned earlier you're doing really well in Vegas. I feel like you've got a pretty good hold of it. What are you doing for marketing right now in Vegas?
I mean, it's a little bit of all. It's a lot of it of all of it. So it's direct mail, SEO. We're getting ready to fire TV back up, and then paper lead providers and stuff, which I'm probably going to begin transitioning away from.
Are you going to be famous in Vegas?
I guess we'll see. I don't really want to be, but I feel like it has to be me.
I remember, again, going back, with Podio, having dinner with him, and like, it was just weird how we're having dinner, and like the servers were like so excited to see him. And they're like, this is the dessert you want for Instagram. Like, it was just like, it was obvious that they had an agenda because they knew it had influence.
Right.
That's going to be you.
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd rather just be in the shadows and make money and never. But I do think that's, I think that's the play for like stability long term, is like having that brand recognition. And I think it uplifts the rest of your marketing channels.
Absolutely.
So,
or especially direct mail.
Yeah, direct mail and PPC too, like, or all of it. Like, yeah, just uplifts all of it. So and it's kind of I don't want to say untapped channel, but for us, like, we've done it before, but I did it at the worst possible time, which was 22, and then the rates exploded, and I was super, super tight on cash then, because I would run really, really lean back in the day. And it was like everything just took a halt, and so I pulled the plug on TV because I'm like, I can't do this right now. But
what are you most excited about for 26?
I think it's going to be a strong market. 25 was a little bit rocky. I think it severely wounded.
Did you hear the numbers you were saying earlier?
Well, it was lower margins for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
we maintained revenue, but it spent 40% more on marketing to do so.
Yeah.
So, but I think 26 is going to be strong again. A lot of the investors will, pull their offers down lower, so smaller deal sizes and whatnot. When the market retracts, but like it's like a shockwave. It takes a while for those sellers to adjust to it. It takes a while for some of the newer wholesalers to get it, and they're just locking stuff up too high and whatnot. So, but I do think 26 will be a lot stronger. I think that people were wounded during this period of time, and it's just probably an opportunity to take over some market share.
Yeah. Chamath is someone I listen to quite a bit. And one of the things he says is that everything we're seeing right now in Q4, right, all the stats that have been reported in Q4 gives him the sensation that the U.S. economy basically is a coiled spring ready to pop. And you listen to these guys, the smart guys, not the economists, because they're all dumb.
Right.
All the economists are stupid, right? But the guys that actually make money,
right,
in the economy, this question is not if the U.S. economy is going to be strong. It's how strong is it going to be?
Yeah.
I think that could be, again, very big.
Yeah, maybe I'll regret selling the Oklahoma properties will double. Who knows? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, it's a good thing we don't live in regret.
Yeah. I just move on from it. Yeah.
All right. Was there anything we didn't talk about that you want to make sure we hit? Or any last thoughts you want to leave all the listeners with?
We covered a lot. I think the biggest tip that I could give to, I guess, basically newer entrepreneurs is outside of whatever your superpower is or what your natural talent. I just think that the people that get the farthest in any business and in life are the people that just take action right away. Whether they're going in the wrong direction or the right direction, doesn't matter. It's the ones that take action immediately and follow through on stuff and execute. So that'd be the tip that I would give to anybody, even if you don't know the wrong direction to go. I think that ignorance isn't an excuse. I think that most of the time it's inaction. So just the ability to execute, and some people have like a natural urgency and ability for that. But I would say it's also something that you can just learn. Like you just need to repetitively think instead of, end of day or next week or whatever. It's like, just do it now. Just do it now. You'll be shocked how much you can accomplish in a shorter period of time.
Well, one of the things that I've said before is that if you take a step forward and it's the wrong direction, well, now you know it's the wrong direction.
Right. It's all learning.
You go in the right direction. The other thing, too, is there's an element of unprogramming, of deprogramming. Because, this might shock some people, right? But I used to be a perfectionist. There was a time where I was like, the paper's got to be, aligned perfectly before I staple it. There's some habits you can unlearn because you find, these actually don't serve me.
Right. Yep.
Right.
I just have to remind myself, again, going back to if I did or didn't do this, would anything change at all in anybody's life? Will it push us forward? The answer is no. Or if the answer is I don't know, then I'm that's not a priority anymore. So, and if something needs to, it's let it burn, let the dumpster fire burn, and just figure it out. It's been doing it this whole time and it hasn't been a problem. So just ignore it. So
right. No one's died so far.
Yeah. So far, so good.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. It's an
thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. Disruptors.